special guest and co-host, Paula Williams, President and CEO, lifelong San Antonio resident.
Yes, yes.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for watching those videos. Thank you so much for being part of this event. We decided to open the event, if you guys were here yesterday, and of course you're here this morning, with Voices of San Antonio. There are only 4 perspectives, but it's very important, as you guys know, that building human-centered communities, we have to listen. And as we kicked off yesterday, it was about listening. That's a core value of everything, not just San Antonio does, but you wouldn't be in this room if you weren't ready to listen, roll up your sleeves, and listen to some really hard things. I think those perspectives were very important for us to kind of set the framework for the conversations we're going to have today and build off some of the lessons learned from yesterday. So with that, I want to take this time to ask Paula, we're sitting backstage, I was like, how do you get the mental energy to focus on everything that happened on stage yesterday? And she said, I went in the PGW zone. But Paula, looking at this both from a city leader who has a lot of eyes on it, but also as a resident who's been here, it's a city you love and a city we all want to grow and be a part of. Tell us some insights that you learned yesterday that you maybe want the audience, especially for those who maybe weren't here yesterday, that we should be thinking about as we get into today.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
You help me a little bit. Jason says, how do you get geared up? I get geared up by you all energizing me. So one more time. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right, I'm good now. Yesterday was a fabulous day. One probably a couple of years in the making. I have been watching Zpryme for several years. My predecessor got connected to Zpryme several years ago and got honored. But I watched them, and I watched what they were doing. The dialogue, the discussion, the content. I think you must be all the converted, so I'm sure you get their emails. If you do not, see this gentleman right here in the wonderful bright turquoise jacket, because there's just so much goodness going on. And yesterday we were able to bring it together in San Antonio. Now, I love Austin. It's a beautiful city, but I'm a little competitive. And I said, a little. Well, no, a lot. Because I'm so proud of San Antonio. And I said, hey, what we need to do is we need to bring that energy here. And what we ultimately need to do is have a San Antonio-Austin corridor of energy and discussion. I think our region is primed between the 2 cities, the corridor. There's a lot of municipal organizations and public power all up and down the corridor, and South Texas is rich. And San Antonio in particular is poised to do some special things. So yesterday we got a chance to interview Cheryl Scully. After 14 years of dedicated service to this community, starting out our combined focus in San Antonio on smart cities in a way that is unique. Because when you have the city itself, when you have the energy company, when you have the water company, the transportation company, the river authority, and in some cases other organizations partnering together to think about a foundation. That happened through our owner thinking about how to create synergies. And so she started that, and she was able to give us insights on how she looks at managing the city. And she's now passing the baton to the new city manager, Eric Walsh. And Eric is digging in and catching up. And so we're super excited that we could have that conversation yesterday. And then we had a part of a global conversation. My good friend, Clint Vance from Denton's, a global law firm that has started a Smart Cities think tank. I am a member of that Smart Cities think tank on the energy side. I sit with many other colleagues in the industry, including Ernie Moniz, and the former head of the EPA, the energy department. And he actually has come to San Antonio and will come back to San Antonio to help us solve some problems locally. We were also there with Jason Williams, New Orleans. We had a conversation about New Orleans. San Antonio and Nolans, as I like to say, Nolans have the same year anniversary. We were both 301 years old. they're kicking off their Smart Cities initiative, and ultimately, we're comparing notes about what they're doing versus what we're doing. And then Ben Meek from Utilligent, who gave us a perspective about Australia. And what they did is they started their smart cities, but he shared with us yesterday that they restarted because they learned about what it takes to actually make smart cities work. The one thing I thought that was so insightful from yesterday, he said, we paid somebody to create our vision for smart cities. This time, we own it. This time, we brought it to our community and we're leading it. So that was a wonderful panel. I was able also at the end of the day to be on a panel with Kimberly. I don't know if Kimberly's here today. Kimberly Britton runs Epicenter, which is now partnered with Zpryme. They're doing a global lecture series. We are fortunate because the city of Darmstadt, with their Lord Mayor, came and brought a delegation to San Antonio. Europe has a lot of focus on energy solutions. And I've heard people say, and I think that's right, that they are further along and they're thinking about solution sets. But it's interesting, as we were able to dig down and visit with Dr. Marie-Louise Wolf. She's the head of Integra. Integra is the energy company that is somewhat of the equivalent of CPS Energy. So we were able to exchange ideas about what it has looked like in Europe versus the US, in particular San Antonio. That was so insightful last night. A couple of they have complete alignment from the head of state down to their overall community, all the way down to the utility. They do have complete alignment. They have fracture. They had debate and they had discussion and they took informal conversations and created perspective. What I really think they did great, that Marie talked about yesterday, was they got people in a room and they talked it out. And they had a lot of protests and they had a lot of problems, but they talked it out and came with under an agreement. And I still think in the US, I still think in San Antonio, we have a lot of work to do. Now, they decided, they understood that whatever their plan was going to be, it was going to take everyone contributing. And that's a big deal. Their power prices are going to, in fact, go up. Their policy and their taxes are going to go up. And they're doing it and they're committing. I think the issue that we have here, quite frankly, is how do we put and aggregate our funds in a way that still makes it affordable, but we get to the objectives that we want. And we don't want prices to go up. The thing I said about yesterday, energy prices, particularly in Texas, are very low. And the reason why they're low, okay, wait for it. The reason why they're low is because there's an abundance of fossil energy, period. It's all economics. With an abundance of fossil energy, it pulls the market price down, and it makes everything compared to fossil difficult. So people say, but renewables is cheap, Paula. That's true. That is absolutely true. But the technology to make renewables work with energy storage doesn't quite compare. And in fact, we got that perspective from Darmstadt, from Dr. Marie-Louise Wolf. They see energy storage is not quite ready, and we as a world have to wait for it to come and be commercially responsible. So we did that and many more. I think one of my more favorite things yesterday was something I didn't have anything to do with. We did a kind of a crowdsourcing of ideas. Yeah. It was who was here yesterday and did that exercise, right? So interestingly, we got walked through that exercise. What it was is you put your one idea on a sheet of paper and then you exchange it 5 times. We obviously struggled as a group because I saw people like there were 9 exchanges. So we didn't quite get the musical card thing going. And you know what was fascinating about that? We immediately ran into traffic jams, right? I thought that was so appropriate that even when we're trying to do ideas, we can't create mobility the way we need to. But in the end, I thought it was a great way to think about brainstorming. And so here we are talking again to the group of converted. And you are the group of converted. You're trying to solve things, and collectively, I think we're getting there. And the conversation on the table about us being slow, yeah, I think we're slow, but I'm telling you, from our perspective at CPS Energy, what we are thinking about is measuring 3 times and cutting once. That's our goal. Measure 3 times, cut once. And it's important that we start to think about what are we going to give to get, and what are we going to do to make progress. And the last thing I'll say about that, we didn't have it. So I've seen a lot of projections and discussions, and the thing is, we gotta be all in, and we're gonna shoot for this goal, and we're gonna get there. In reality, if you look at the market price of power, or the market price of a commodity, or if you look at temperatures, if you look at a trend line, there is nothing that is straight. Nothing has a linear projection and goes from here to here and is successful. What really happens is it kind of goes like this. And what you want is you want a regression line to get you there, or a regression line to get you there. But in the result, it's gonna look a little shaky. It's gonna look a little difficult. And sometimes we're gonna individually win. The important thing that as a group, we all win.
Thank you very much. I think it kind of echoes how we started the day yesterday. You want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together.
Yes.
And I think this community, the people that really definitely have that mindset, and the ambition to get there is there. But I think the consciousness and awareness to do it, just like you said, take notes, listen, and then let's try to do this with everyone all in. I keep hearing that too, and it seems like a lot of folks are that. So I really appreciate that. And I did want to take a quick second, forgive me if I'm good. Stephen, please stand up. So Stephen was the gentleman on the video, entrepreneur, and he might have been down there. Welcome, and thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I know we kind of put that together really fast, but we need more folks like you in this conversation. I think all your points were spot on what we need to do. And I hope you spend your time here and recognize that there's a lot of, you have the right people, the right mindset to really accomplish that. And so throughout the day, if you guys want to talk with Stephen, or if you have any questions for us, feel free to chime in. It means a lot for you to get up there. I still get nervous on any stage and putting in front of the camera. I really appreciate that. And I look forward to hearing more from you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Maybe I'll get back to the important thing. I mean, I talked about all the things, not all the things. Yesterday was a big day. We even had a DeLorean, which was like fun for me, because I love all this stuff and technology and the thought of being creative with flying cars. You know, back in 1980 when the car flew off, nobody thought that was a real thing. And now we're really talking about flying vehicles and autonomous vehicles and everything. But I think maybe the biggest point of yesterday and today is we are listening to our customers. CPS in particular, I think what we feel is we need to be your energy experts. And we need to bring together all of the wealth of knowledge that we have, but we can't be constrained by those things. The key, though, is people. And so we think about this community, the community that we live in and that we love, in terms of making it better and making sure that we start doing more solutions that help everyone here live the lives that they want to. I am blessed to do what I do. I like talking, but I really do like listening more. But I want to also, get back to, we have this thing called People First. And in People First, our customers are our beacon. We focus on our community and our employees. Our employees are the ones that really drive a tremendous amount of value. There are quite a few CPS Energy employees here. There are over 3,000 employees that operate the energy programs here for 1.5 million people. But I want to do a little bit of call out because Tomlin Jones in the back, this gentleman's been micing me up for the last couple of days. Thank you, sir. He is, yeah. What he told me is that his father retired from CPS Energy after a long, good career of keeping this power system up. And I always believe that there are 2 degrees of separation in our people. People come to this company and work a long time, and they give a lot of their goodness. And so the next person I want to call out is Anthony Edwards. This gentleman here is a retired top executive for CPS Energy. And when I first came in the industry, he sat me down and told me a lot of things that I needed to not do to mess up, and a lot of the good things that I needed to do to be a better person. And because we have good people who are still coming to our events and thinking about solutions and whispering in our ears, and again, giving us an opportunity to listen, we are the energy provider that wants to help solve issues. So it may not be perfect, we don't get it all right, we're probably not moving as fast as we need to, but I want to thank you all for being here, being a part of the Converted, helping us tell a good story, getting it more sexy to think about energy, and we're going to figure it out. So thank you so much,